Well, it's 35 points that are separating Everton and Arsenal. Arsenal is having 50 points, topping the Premier League table. Everton is placed 19th with 15 points, with a very ridiculous form that led to the sacking of Frank Lampard. When you look at Everton, in their last 5 games, they've lost 4 and drawn 1. That's it. They've lost 4 and drawn 1. When you look at Arsenal in their recent 5 games, they've won 4 and drawn 1. But there is a start that everyone should go in here and really look at to put into his brain when he's really thinking of who's going to win this game of football, and the factors that we should really benchmark onto this match preview and prediction have really been widespread all over the world, that everyone has to go on and really put them or digest them and let him or her sink into his or her brain. And that is, Everton have won 3 of their last 4 Premier League games against Arsenal. 1 loss, as many as they had in their previous 26 against them. So, their last 4 Premier League games, Everton have won 3. Memorably, not even forgetting that loss they got at Everton last season of 2 goals to, I think it was a 2 goals to 1, when Damian Gray went in for that shot that struck the post and went into the back of the net. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. How are you guys? Arsenal or Everton versus Arsenal Premier League match preview. The early kickstarter tomorrow. Arsenal are back in the Premier League, and if I told you never knew, Arsenal last played a game in the Premier League when they are playing against Manchester United, and they beat Manchester United by 3 goals to 2. They left it late, but the fact is that they showed us how far their fighting spirit has really gone and taken the next level in there. For you, Rokani David is my name. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, lower right bottom corner. Mikel Arteta has just been named the Premier League manager for the month of January. I told you in January, Arsenal played Newcastle. They played Manchester United. Did they play any other team again in January? Let me have a little bit of a check here on a team called Arsenal and how they really performed in January. The Premier League games they played, because this really needs to be taught to you all, really talked basing on what we call facts. All right. They played Newcastle, Tottenham Hotspur, and Manchester United. They drew with Newcastle, they beat Manchester United, they beat Tottenham Hotspur. So he has been named the Premier League manager for the month of January. And today has held his press conference, talked about Thomas Partey, as he's going to go for a late fitness test. He's going to train today and they are going to assess him because he is having an injury in his ribs that he really got when he was playing against Man City. That's why he played only 45 minutes and he was taken off. So this really puts us into a perfect discussion of whether to start Thomas Partey, who is returning from injury, or Jorginho, who is really a player that Arsenal signed in late in the January transfer window. Then the other player that you don't expect, Gabriel Jesus, is one of those you're not going to expect to see in this game of football as Arsenal takes on Everton at Goodison's Park. Reason being, he has returned on the green grass, but he is not yet back and cleared to get everything running. That is a man known as Gabriel Jesus. After Gabriel Jesus, the other one to talk about is Reece Nelson, back in the training, but I don't believe he's really ready to reach those levels of really coming in through and play into the game of football of Arsenal versus Everton. El Nini, I think his season is done. Who else is out? El Nini. Even Emile Smith-Rowe is out. Emile Smith-Rowe is out. No sooner had he returned from a long injury after the surgery of the calf, then he got an ankle injury. That is Emile Smith-Rowe. So Arsenal has 4 players out. Emile Smith-Rowe, Gabriel Jesus, El Nini, Reece Nelson, Thomas Partey is still a doubt. You're not 100% sure that he's really going to be available for that game of Everton, as confirmed to us by the manager of as confirmed to us by a manager of a team called Arsenal. Now, when you look at Everton, they are really having some injuries, and there is a player, James Garner, that they signed from Manchester United. He's really having a very painful back that rules him out of this game of football. And when you look at Ben Godfrey and Michael Caine, they will miss the first game of Sean Dyche because they have not recovered from knee injuries, and obviously Jorginho will be one of those to be looked at because he's going to really take part into this game because Thomas Partey will take a late assessment in there for it. So Sean Dyche is really a manager who has been hard at Arsenal. I think in his recent 5 games, he has drawn 3, lost 1 and won 1. So in his last games versus Arsenal, he has really been competitive, and you know the kind of game that he brings out in the field of play. So it really puts Arsenal in a very hard situation, and Arsenal having a very huge chance this time around as they go into this game. Do you know why? They are playing fast, meaning that they can stretch their lead to 8 points if they win against Everton tomorrow. Then Man City is playing on Sunday, and they're really having a very hard fixture. They are playing away at Tottenham Hotspur, a stadium where Pep Guardiola has not won in his entire career. They've been bad visitors at the White Hart Lane or the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. So it shows you that Arsenal might find themselves in another dominant lead, yet they even have a game in hand ahead of Man City. So it shows you that it's really going to be a competitive game. It's going to put Arsenal on pressure because they are playing a team whose manager was sacked and a new manager is here. We who support Manchester United know what it means when you're playing a game at home for a new manager that has brought in. That's how we suffered to Aston Villa 3-1 at their position at their home because Unai Emery had just been named the manager and was playing his second game for Aston Villa and his first game at home. Players are going to put their bodies on the line. The Calvert-Lewins of this world, Maupay, Onana, Doucouré, Ghana. They're having very good players, Everton. And I think that we are going to enjoy that game of football in the afternoon, but I believe Arsenal have every weapon to edge off that game of football. Now, let's get into what team we believe Mikel Arteta might really go ahead and really bring into this game of football, as his accustomed system nowadays is known to you as a 4-3-3. That is the system of Mikel Arteta, and we believe lots of things are really going to be happening in this game of football. To bring you up to speed, Arsenal made 6 changes in the game of Man City that they were beaten by 1-0 because Arsenal last played last Friday. Man City beat them by 1-0. The players that we arrested, Aaron Ramsdale, Ben White, Zinchenko, Saliba, Odegaard, and Gabriel Martinelli. Those 6 players never started this game of football of Arsenal losing to Man City. So Trossard came in for Martinelli. Fabio Vieira came in for Odegaard. Tomiyasu came in for Ben White. Kientieni came in for Zinchenko. Rob Holding came in for Saliba, and Matt Turner came in for Ramsdale. Now, let's see who is going to start in goal for Arsenal. I believe it's going to be Ramsdale returning. However, Matt Turner put up a very, very, very outrageous performance in that game of football. I believe it requires Ramsdale to get back into this position because he's one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. I'm not down on playing the efforts of Matt Turner, but if at all you're a goalkeeper, you should know that there is always a first choice goalkeeper and a second choice goalkeeper. And obviously, Arsenal, having been knocked out of almost all the tournaments and left with the UEFA Europa League, Matt Turner is left with the only one chance to be a goalkeeper in the UEFA Europa League. Right back, Ben White looked rusty when they're playing against us. Manchester United played only 45 minutes, taken off. Even in the game of Man City, never played a minute. Tomiyasu played the entire 90 minutes. Obviously, this game of football, I expect him to be brought back by Mikel Arteta because it's his right-hand man and some of the best right-back performances that has really produced in the Premier League, that is Ben White. And I believe he deserves a chance to retain his position as a right-back of Arsenal. Left-back, Kientieni taken off around the 70th minute. Zinchenko brought on. I believe Zinchenko is retaining his position fully fit and is going to play on the left back of Arsenal. Not so, because he really offers a lot to the club every time he really starts. Central defense, Jakub Quivio breaking a record during training, and it's really a shocker. I don't know whether the manager wants to start him, but looks like the player is ready to be given his debut, but I don't believe it's high time for him to be given this debut. It's really going to remain the same. The central defense partnership is Saliba and the player known as Gabriel Magalhaes. And for Saliba, it's really working in his favor because he should go ahead and really work hard to fight for a position at the French national team. Raphael Varane announcing his retirement yesterday from the national team. That should really pump up Saliba a lot to fight for that position and obviously show up performances that he's really one of the best defenders that should replace Raphael Varane at Manchester United. But according to his performance this season, he has really shown it that he's ready to take over after Raphael Varane. But having got 2 games when he was really sloppy, caused Arsenal 2 goals in the game of West Ham and Brighton, I think he's back to the Saliba we know. Looking solid, press resistant, good game reader, obviously the defender that you'll call Rolls Royce. That is William Saliba. Now, that is the back 4 of Arsenal, and let's go to where the magic starts from. Now, in the central defense midfield area, because Arsenal plays a system of 4-3-3 with a single pivot, Thomas Partey has been having grip problems. Now, do you start Thomas Partey, however much he's going to train today, or you start Jorginho, who is physically fit, into a game against Everton? And I have my verdict taken here that if at all Arteta believes in Jorginho, why start a player, your best player, in a game like this that even if Sambi Lokonga was here, he would have gone ahead to win it when he was replaying the midfield? Jorginho is so much an upgrade of El Nini and Lokonga. I believe a statement should be made that no risking Thomas Partey. If he's going to be on the bench, it's okay. Let's not risk the player. Let us allow him heal fully. And I think it's better to prepare Thomas Partey for the game of Man City, because these next games of Arsenal are really not all going to be calling for his effort. You get, Arsenal is going to play Everton tomorrow, Brentford. You get, I think Jorginho should take over these games. What do you think, guys? Everton versus Arsenal, I think Jorginho can handle. Arsenal versus Brentford, Jorginho can handle. And then let Partey be prepared for the game of Man City. This is what I really believe Arteta might do. And I believe this guy is making his debut tomorrow for Arsenal. Jorginho, I think no reason to hurry Thomas Partey back, because there is a player that can handle that midfield of Onana, Dokore, Iwobi, Gueye. I think the midfield of Arsenal can really handle it. Not so? So I believe Jorginho is going to make his debut, because you sign him for games like this, for moments like this, not to force back your player who is injured, because you might force Thomas Partey to come back early enough. He plays, you win, but he hurts his ribs more and you miss out on him on the entire season. Meaning that to save Thomas Partey, Jorginho should be started. And I have it in my mind that 90% Jorginho is going to start in this game of Arsenal versus Everton in the single pivot. Then, alongside him, we expect players known as Odegaard, my best Arsenal player of the year, according to me, and I believe he's going to take it because the stats that he's really portraying outside there are really ridiculous. And he has gone ahead to confirm to us that in the summer, he's going to be talking to Arsenal, because nothing is trying to lower him out of Arsenal. He wants to extend his contract. After extending his contract, they need to add him more money, because he's earning £87,000 a week, and they need to give him like 150 or 180,000 pounds a week, because he is going to be tied on a longer contract. Secondly, teams that are really looking at him are really huge, and Arsenal really want to really secure their captain. With the job done in his first season, on the verge of winning the first Arsenal Premier League trophy after 2 decades, he needs this, and he has really always been there every time Arsenal have needed him. When they needed a winner against Manchester United, he was involved into that last pass that found Edin Nketiah, and Edin Nketiah did a flick that found David De Gea in a position of not saving it, and that game ended 3-2. It was Odegaard onto that with the likes of the Trossards and Zinchenko combination. That's it. Now, I believe he's starting his game of football, and he's going to be playing alongside Jorginho in that midfield. When you look at the other player that is undroppable and looking really great is Granit Xhaka. Xhaka is going to start against Everton. I believe it's going to be a midfield 3, as you see, a 4-3-3, and he's really going to be having a tough job to do. Reason being, Jorginho is not good at the physicality battle, but when you look at the midfield of Everton, the physicality battle is really going to be hard because they're having Idrissa Gueye, physical, Onana, physical, Dokore, physical. I believe Sean Dyche is going to go for all those three in the midfield of Everton. You get? Then I think Iwobi, Gray, Damian, and Calvert-Lewin will lead the line for a team of Everton at Goodison Park tomorrow. So I have a belief in me that Xhaka might come in through to do some hard work. Depending on how Jorginho is going to be really positioning himself, because he's a good tackler. You know, they are good midfielders like Busquets, Jorginho. They are not using energy to win those battles. They are just using their brain. They block, or they do checkmates in the midfield. They really do interceptions. They really do tackles where necessary. And their most beautiful aspect they have is that they'll give you the possession you want. They are calm. They are press resistant. They'll dedicate play. They'll get you that pass. You'll build from behind, because I believe Jorginho is a better passer of the ball than Thomas Partey. That's it. And at the end of this season, we are going to see how Jorginho has gone ahead to really revolutionize the midfield of Arsenal, because Partey is good, but you know why he's being given that credit? Because Jorginho has been at Chelsea, and Chelsea has not been performing okay. If Chelsea had been performing okay, trust me, they would have gone ahead to give the same props to Jorginho. But Jorginho is here to prove a point that I'm really that man that is really here to do a job for Arsenal. Now, let's go to the front three of Arsenal. Martinelli, left forward, is going to come in because Trossard played close to 60-70 minutes against Man City. Martinelli was rested. I think he's being played repeatedly, and he was not getting enough rest. I believe was the reason as to why he looked like he was dropping deep in form at Arsenal. But I believe him being given a new contract is going to motivate him. He was rested. He came on and played like 20 minutes. I think he's fresh and he's back to the Martinelli we know. And I think he needs to light the fire and get Arsenal those sparks of that area of the left forward role. So I believe he's coming in for Trossard. Trossard is going to be back on the bench. The coming in of Trossard is going to help Martinelli to at least rest a little bit of some 20 minutes every game. You get? Because he has always been playing 90 minutes for Arsenal. That's it. So Trossard coming in through is really going to be helping Martinelli to up his game again, and obviously get a rest, because competition is going to take Martinelli to the next level. And secondly, it's really going to help him have some rest because he has been playing a lot of minutes. So let's go to the other player. That is Bukayo Saka, a player that was nowhere near good in the game of Man City. He was outbacked by Nathan Ake, and I think if at all it was not the goal he scores against Manchester United and the two shots he directed, one went the back of the net, one hit the bottom post, I think he would have been talked about as one of those players that never did anything in that game of Manchester United. I think if you look at Bukayo Saka in his previous two games of the Premier League and that of the the last Premier League game he played against Manchester United and one against City, not City, it's it's in the FA Cup against City, right? He looks like he's really depending in form, but I think this game comes in at a very, very, very fantastic moment when he needs to lift himself up and obviously do the needful, because these are games that Saka have been reputable, known for coming in and killing off. So I believe he's going to come in and play a very huge part in the game of football. That is a player known as Bukayo Saka. And he needs to really raise up the bar, having lost the Premier League award for the month of January to Marcus Rashford. He needs to raise up his bar and really get himself back running on this game by scoring a goal, because 2 games now, no goal. I think even the game of Spurs he never scored. He has really gone close to how many games? I think he last scored in the game of Brighton. That's it. He never scored a goal against Manchester United. Against Spurs, deflected, but it was an unknown goal. Good effort from him. But he was gifted by the goalkeeper of Spurs, that is Hugo Lloris, who is just always a mistake away from really costing his team. The game of Man City, never scored. He scored against Manchester United, a very good goal. So I believe he needs to really go ahead and really find himself in the boots that's supposed to be on. But I believe this is a game Saka might become dominant again and sounding into this game of football. Then, a man who has really gone ahead to score 4 goals in his, are they 5 Premier League starts? West Ham, Brighton, Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur. 4 starts of the Premier League. Eddie Nketiah has really gone ahead to score 4 goals. He scored 1 against West Ham. He scored 1 against Brighton. He never scored against Newcastle. Those are 3 Premier League games. He never scored against Tottenham. Those are 5. And the 6th Premier League game that he started was against Manchester United, and he scored a brace. So in 6 Premier League games, he's having 4 goals, something to really brag about, this boy known as Eddie Nketiah. So I believe Arsenal is going to stand like that, but you should know that Arsenal is really one of the best teams that really has a best away form. They've only lost 1 game away from home. It was at Old Trafford, 3-1 against Manchester United. They went ahead to draw away at Southampton, 1-1. So I believe that it's going to be a highly contested game. New manager at Everton fighting for their lives. They don't want to get sacked. But this is a game of football that if I were Sean Dyche, you wouldn't like to start with at home, playing one of the best teams in the Premier League now, topping the Premier League table, and they're having a very good away form. Arsenal have really kept more clean sheets away from home than at home, because the number of games they've played away are the following. They kept a clean sheet away at Crystal Palace. They kept a clean sheet away at Bournemouth. They kept a clean sheet away at Brentford. They kept a clean sheet away at Leeds. They kept a clean sheet away at Tottenham Hotspur. They kept a clean sheet away. Which other away game Arsenal played? At Wolves. They kept close to 6 or 7 clean sheets. It shows you how good they are when they are playing away from home. So it really reminds you that a team known as Arsenal is really going to do the needful and really put in a fight for their side called for their side at Goodson's Park. So allow me throw you some bit of stats as we sign out, as we call it a day here, onto the Rokani Media Football, and you tell me what you think about Jorginho making his debut for Arsenal tomorrow. Would you go Jorginho, or would you go for an injured Thomas Partey? Let's see what we are being told here by Google. Now, they're telling us that Everton have won 3 of their last 4 Premier League games against Arsenal, as many as they had in their previous 26 against them. So it shows you that Everton has always been close. Arsenal have won 99 of their 202 League Premier League games against Arsenal, drawing 43 times, losing 60. So, and could become the first team in English history to register 100 wins against a specific opponent. So it shows you that Arsenal have been really beating Everton a lot. Now, Everton have won their last 2 home league games against Arsenal, last winning 3 in a row against the Gunners at Goodison Park between 1977 and 1978, meaning that Everton has been really in scintillating form for the previous 2 seasons in the Premier League. They beat them last season of 2021-2022, and the season of 2020-2021, they beat them at Goodson's Park, meaning that Everton is looking for their 3rd consecutive win against Arsenal. That last happened in the season of 1977 and 1978. Arsenal have scored at least 5 goals on 5 separate occasions in Premier League games against Everton, including a 5-1 victory in their last meeting. No side has scored 5 goals against another in the competition more often. So it shows you that Arsenal always makes it rain, especially at the Emirates, but not at Goodison Park, because the last game they played at Goodison Park, the last game they played at Emirates, Arsenal beat Everton by 5 goals to 1. I remember it was the game that was closing the season, and it was a goals galore at Emirates, and Arsenal really tore them into pieces, tore them apart. So that is Arsenal for you. Now, Everton have just won 3 of their 44 Premier League games against sides starting the day top of the table. So it shows you that Everton, whenever they are facing a team topping the Premier League table, they lose, because they've just won 3 out of the 44 Premier League games they've played against teams topping the Premier League table. So guys, that's it for now. It's Rokani David here onto the Rokani Media Football. Hope you guys are really having a fantastic day and fantastic moment. That has been my predicted lineup, your thoughts about this match preview of Arsenal, and most importantly, Jorginho's debut. That is really going to be one of the talk about points in very many match previews, as I've brought it here for you. I've done my job, so feel free to let me know what your thoughts are about Everton versus Arsenal in the Premier League. I believe Arsenal winning this game of football by 3 goals to 1. I think 3 goals to 1. 3 goals to 1. I think this time around they are not keeping a clean sheet, because the atmosphere at Everton is really going to be so cruel for them and harsh. I know they've handled very many harsh crowds, but I believe this is a different atmosphere altogether. They're playing a manager, Sean Dyche, who's going to make it hard for them to score, you get, and hitting them on the break, because he's going to put up bodies. He's going to pack the bus, and you've known him for this style at very many teams where I think was at Stoke City, Burnley, and very many others. Let's wait and see what's going to happen at Everton, but I'm predicting a 3-1 win for Arsenal, because Arsenal has every weapon to unlock, every key to unlock the doors, or the defensive doors of Everton. Thank you guys. I sign out for now. See you later. May the Almighty God bless you abundantly. Rokani David remains my name. Bye-bye.